I'm sitting down for pizza with my college friend and her family. They're in town for the long weekend staying with me. We spent the day at the playgrounds. I showed them my writing studio. And now we're talking about what game we're going to play after dinner. When little Kate looks across the table at me and says, "Allie, where's your husband?" Wow, even this 5-year-old knows that we live in a coupled culture. Should I tell her that I also wonder where my husband is? That being 39 and single wasn't exactly how I thought my story was gonna go. I think, no, this is what they call a teachable moment. So I try to get my points together. Should I, I could tell her, like, you don't have to be in a relationship, Kate. Or I've had many serious relationships, but they just, weren't my person. It feels like a lot of detail for a 5-year-old and a little bit defensive. So before I can, get my response together, her 3-year-old brother chimes in with an answer. Them died. As in they died, as in my husband is dead. I was like, oh my God, this kid thinks it's more probable that I'm a widow than just basic single. I would have thought kids today would have more storylines, Thanks, Disney. So I start laughing and then the kids start laughing. And their dad comes hustling in from the kitchen. He's like, guys, stop laughing. It's not nice to laugh about dead people. And I'm laughing harder. I'm like, wait, Tom, what? That's the lesson? No one's dead. Anyway, their mom tries to explain the situation to their 3-year-old, but he and I have to leave the room because we can't handle it. A week later, I think I get asked out by somebody who I'm not interested in, but he's a fellow writer, so I figured we could get together for coffee and talk about what we're working on. So we sit down at a table outside and we start chatting, and a few minutes into the conversation, he suggests that we get dinner sometime. And I see this coming, and I'm ready for it. So I said, oh, I don't know what your intentions are, but I just want to be clear from my side, I'm not interested in dating you. And he looks shocked. He says, why not? You're not married. Just like that, like he was giving me some new data about myself. I was like, I'm gonna need a PowerPoint presentation to explain all that is wrong with that comment. But instead I just say, oh, well, I have a lot going on right now. I'm just, I'm not really dating, which is partly true. But what I don't tell him is that I've only recently made the call to stop focusing on finding a partner, to switch my energy and attention to moving and making a baby. And that I'm also questioning myself because I am afraid that I'm sacrificing one for the other. A few weeks later, I'm up at my new house to celebrate with a friend, and I'm walking down the sidewalk and I run into my neighbors a couple doors down. It's a woman and a toddler, a pregnant woman, a toddler, and her husband. And they were like, oh, when are you all moving in? And I was like, oh, I'm moving in a few weeks. And they were like, oh, where are you all coming from? And I was like, I'm coming from Logan Circle. Hoping if I just keep answering in the singular, they're gonna catch on. And then she says, do you have a husband? I said, no. I moved up here to have a baby by myself. They were congratulatory. We wrapped up greetings, and then I walked to my house, and the across the street neighbors came over to say hello. Same thing. When are you guys all moving in? Where are you guys coming from? So new strategy. I just say, I'm single. I moved from Logan Circle to have a baby by myself. It's like, what? I don't know what's happening right now. It's way oversharing. And to be clear, I'm not pregnant yet. Most people wait till after the first trimester to tell people they're pregnant, but I'm just telling people before the first trimester starts. And also, I'm aware you can have a baby anywhere, so this story doesn't even make sense. I say see you soon, and then I walk up to my front door, and I run into my exact, neighbor on the porch, and she goes, congrats, are you guys all settled in? And I was like, it's just me. I figured I'd get the house first and the people later. So my friend shows up, and I'm like, wait till I tell you what I've been saying to strangers. But now this friend is divorced, which is the best kind of friend for a single gal, because it's a constant reminder that life is not linear and marriage does not equal happiness. And I said to her, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all these questions. And she was like, you don't know anybody an explanation. And I know that she is right. But also, maybe I shouldn't have bought a house for a family I don't have. A few weeks later, it's officially moving day, and the moving guys show up at my house with a van, start packing up all my stuff. We're making jokes, we're making small talk. It's like we're buds. And then I meet them an hour later at my house, and they're doing the reverse, taking everything out. Should this go upstairs? Should this go downstairs? And they're almost done, and one of the guys stops in the middle of the living room, and he turns to me and he goes, wait, did you say you're single? You gotta be crazy or something, because you're attractive. I was like, thank you? No, I was like, what is this, the 1950s? Can't a gal just be single and have her own house? Do you want to know I also have a bank account? What I really wanted to say is you're 25 with 5 kids under 5. I don't think objectively I'm the one who's crazy. But I actually said, nope, just single. And then was left wondering, like, is something wrong with me? A few months go by, and I'm at a different table with a different friend's daughter having breakfast. And she says to me, Allie, have you considered getting a husband? I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, am I being punked? Am I on candid camera? What is happening? But I do understand why all these people are so confused, because we are looking for familiar stories in a culture where we're supposed to be coupled and things are supposed to go in a certain order. But I'm ready for this one because I have had a lot of practice. So I hold it together and I look at her and I said, them died. No, I look at her and I said, why do you ask? And she said, because then you can have a baby. And I was like, oh, you don't need a husband to have a baby. I bookmarked for a later lesson when she's a little older that women have the pressure of a biological clock, but we also have the ovens, and you can buy the missing ingredients on the internet. The first and last time I ever told this story was on a Story District stage. Thank you. And I was 6 months into trying to make a baby, which in baby making time, getting pregnant, is an agonizing eternity. I was part empowered, soon to be solo mom, sure. But a lot pretty insecure and unsure if baby making was gonna work out. And I was aware for the first time that I was letting all these comments and expectations absorb and make me question my own choices. It took a few years for my confidence to sort of sink in. 363 days after I told my story, I had my son. Thank you. And this fall, I had his little brother. Thank you. So now I feel pretty confident that I made the right call. Thank you.